Welcome into the Landon Tangwall Show and the ultimate guide to the 2026 Florida Gators offensive line. Today, we're going to be diving into the film of 7 of these Florida offensive linemen, giving you everything that you need to know about this unit. And we're going to pay extra special attention to the battle for right guard and left tackle. Now, it's clear, when John Summerall got to Gainesville, he said, hey, we need a culture change in this offensive line room. So who better to go out and get than national champion, former Florida letterman, one of the best offensive line coaches in America, Phil Trautwein. Brought a couple guys with him down from Penn State. I actually did a full video on Coach Trout and what it was like to play for him. I was his first ever recruit at Penn State, and I kind of got a firsthand view of watching him rebuild an offensive line room and build a culture in the offensive line room. So go check that out after this video if you have not seen it. Now, this Florida offensive line room, you're confident in the interior. I think you like where you're at left guard, center, right guard, Harrison Moore. I mean, I'll tell you what, it was clear Buster Faulkner, he said, hey, I'm coming to town and I'm bringing one of the best centers in America with me. And you guys, this tape got me absolutely fired up. Now, a little bit more of a question at the tackle positions, especially the left tackle. That's my biggest question going into this season. So we're going to dive into all the little intricacies of what Phil Trautwein is going to be working on with these guys to get them better throughout fall camp. And guys, we're going to have a lot more Florida film breakdowns coming. We're going to do a full film breakdown on the quarterback battle, dive into that. We're going to dive into Buster Faulkner's gap scheme run game. So we got all that coming. Hit that subscribe button because I do not want you to miss it. But without further ado, let's roll the tape. All right, we're going to start out with Harrison Moore at center. Really the backbone of this offensive line. Came over from Georgia Tech with Buster Faulkner, and we're going to talk about him in the outside zone scheme. Watch him reach this 2-eye right here, get going. He's going to reach it, and then start to press it vertical, and then we get a chance, and we're going to dump this thing in the dirt. And you're about to see this guy gets physical on his tape. Now, everybody talks about the gap scheme runs in this offense for Buster Faulkner. He runs a lot of outside zone, and the best part is Harrison Moore at center. You got to be able to reach these defensive tackles, and you're going to see how quickly he moves, really stabs this leg down, gains that depth so he can kind of get around and then just get going. You see how quickly he gains leverage on 94 and then gets to the point where if he's able to throw him, like you see him get strong with this right arm and kind of torque this right arm like that and just throws this guy into the dirt. Like, this is what he brings to the table in outside zone. Reaching a nose. He is right on top of you. Watch him get this and look at the lane that he creates. Now, play side, it gets blown up. But what's so impressive about this is, like, when you have a nose tackle, it is not easy because this dude is breathing on you. And look at him right off rip, like, we're fighting. And I am really trying to gain this leverage to the right. Now, what I love is, check out this left hand. It's outside on the shoulder pad. Watch him slowly rebite that. He fits that up underneath. So now it's like a forklift. And now I also have gained the leverage to play side. So now I have all the leverage I want with my hands and my body position. So you're going to see him now really kind of turn this vertical and then even throw this inside. You see the D tackle tries to kind of throw him, and he just does such a good job still walling this thing off. And we would have been able to cut this vertical if it wasn't for this tight end getting thrown right here. He gets thrown, so this defensive end makes this tackle inside. Look at the gap by walling this off that he created right here by being able to reach that nose tackle. That's what he brings to the table when this guy just gets moving in the outside zone game. And then right here, creating a huge gap for the running back. That's the gap that we almost had on the last one that he creates right here. And this is IQ, and we're going to talk about his IQ, but what we have is we have a single right here with the right guard up to the linebacker. And what I love is he sees that the linebacker is just shooting over this way. So he's pushing his right guard, Rutledge, and he's saying, dude, just go, because we have all the levers we want. I'm just going to push him. He literally pushes him off. Make sure to wall this off. And now once again, you see the gap that has been created because of that. So it's not just that he's super athletic. It's that he's going to be a high IQ player where he understands, go. That's what he's telling him. And then, hey, let's knife that thing vertical. So much of outside zone actually hits backside, and you're going to see that all over this Buster Faulkner outside zone tape. Now, right here, this is what's so impressive to me. You have this nose that slants, and they're gonna slant the front in. And so as this is happening, he sees, okay, that goes away, so I know something is coming. If something goes away in offensive line play, that means something is coming the opposite direction. So I love how he gets into this. His guard helps him, but we're in a situation right here where a lot of guys will lose this And this defensive end is going to split this double team upfield. Look at the position that he's in. He's on a heel, his back legs off the ground. Watch him regain leverage from that position, completely throw his body like this, and just run his feet and wall 7 off to give his running back a lane. That's what's so impressive to me, is that he always finds a way. It's not just that he's physical. It's not just that he's athletic. This is a bad position, and he goes from a bad position to a really good position quickly. All right, one thing you guys are going to get used to down in Gainesville is running wide receiver screens. Watch our guy get out right here, and his goal is get flat down this line, and I'm going to pick someone off. Whoop-ah! Put him in the dirt. It's not a good play. It doesn't actually, it's one of the most disastrous plays I've ever seen right here. So it doesn't end well. But damn it, did Harrison Moore just absolutely obliterate this poor linebacker, just put him in the dirt, put him into the center of the universe. Like I said, does not go well. Wide receiver completely loses it. But that's the physicality and athleticism that he brings to the table. Here we go one more time. Now we're going to go over here. He's at left guard, throws his man. Watch him get up. Look at him fly up to this safety. Now get some help. Anytime I see this 15 yards downfield, that's going to get me juiced up. But this is some left guard tape right here. But look how quickly he gets into this, completely walls it off, throws it that way just like he's supposed to do with Shed. Watch how fast he is. Look at the acceleration of closing in on this safety. And then, like I said, you get a little bit of help from your guy right there, but we're going to jump on top of it. You get the physicality aspect too. That's the type of stuff that gets me juiced up, and why Buster Faulkner said this guy has to come with me to Florida, because he does stuff like this. And then one more time right here. This play means nothing, and it means everything. Watch the hustle. Ha, 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 ha. That means everything. Get down, get your guy up, give him a little pat on the head. That's why I'm saying he's the backbone of this offense, because he's covering downfield. This is the stuff. Do you think Trout watches this and says, oh my gosh, like I'm getting giddy. My guy's covering downfield, even looking back for a little bit. And then guess what? Like, this matters. Let's say there's a fumble and the ball lands right here. Guess who's there to get it? Harrison Moore is. All this type of stuff matters. This is part of the culture that Trout's building, and why I think Harrison Moore is going to be a huge part of it. All right, now let's really dive into Harrison Moore's IQ as a player, because this play right here doesn't look like much to anybody, but this gets me going. I guarantee it gets Coach Trout going. So what we have is inside zone. Before the snap, we have a combo block with my left guard, a single up to 24. Now at the snap, you're going to see 8. He's going to move away, and very quickly, Harrison Moore realizes, hey, we got axe blitz. Axe blitz means one linebacker goes in this A-gap, the other linebacker goes in this A-gap, and it creates an axe. So that's why we call it axe blitz. And what he does very quickly, he does such a good job getting into 24, realizing 24 is going into this A-gap, so I'm going to pass him off now to my right guard, make sure it's secured, and look at his eyes. He's waiting for 9 to come over the top, and so he's going to secure, and then last second, jump off on 9, throw him this way. He actually gets his feet kind of falling on right there. But that's a hell of a play. That's IQ. That's picking up the blitz and making sure. And when you are able to crease blitzes, when you have center play like this, it can create some really, really big runs. So right there, you have that against Wake Forest. We're going to get a very similar situation right here in this game where, if he would have just handed this thing off, this is a touchdown right here. So you're going to run inside zone. It's going to be an RPO, and the quarterback's going to pull it. But you're going to get a very similar situation where we have a combo block, me and the left guard on 95 up to 14. So I step for the combo block. I see 95 go away, and now I see 14, and I say, oh crap, okay, 14 is going to go over the top. Very quickly, he braces back into this thing and just does a great job taking this over, walling this off. And if we would have handed this off, we're one-on-one with the safety right there. But once again, that's the quick thinking. That's the quick IQ, that realizing, oh crap, he's going over the top, and a quick boom, brace back into this thing and really wall it off. And once again, look at the lane we've created, and if the quarterback, he really shouldn't have thrown this because he's reading 23, and 23 sits over here, so I don't know why Haynes Kings pulls this to throw it. But if we hand this off, we're one-on-one with the safety. That is an excellent job there by Harrison Moore. All right, right here, check this out. Check out the IQ to get back on this back block. Oh, my God, the running back. So many of these plays, Harrison Moore, like these should have popped for huge gains. So we're going to run counter, where we're going to pull guard, pull tackle, and I am back blocking on this shade right here. So he steps and he goes, okay, I'm going to back block. And you see how quickly, look at his eye snap. Like, this is the stuff you love as a coach. So his eyes are facing this nose tackle. as he feels the nose tackle start to slant this way, his eyes snap because he's like, we got something coming. Eyes snap over here, and he stays in a little bit. He doesn't just leave it. He knows his right guard needs a little bit of time to now snap into it too. So stays into it, now starts to leave. Right guard snaps into this. He snaps into the defensive tackle. Boom, blows him up. There's the physicality. Just run him up the field. And look at the lane we have created. Running back, please, up the hash. This is literally offensive line. I'm not going to say the word, but offensive line beauty. Like, I need you to hit that gap. But this is the center play you're getting. This is the high IQ. This is the problem solving. He always problem solves and just finds a way. And you're creating lanes like this. I'm absolutely obsessed with this guy's tape right here. And then this one against BYU, you get the same thing. You're dealing with movement. I mean, just look at these lanes that we're creating. My gosh, guys. This is what you're bringing down to Gainesville. I love this. So what you're going to run is you're running power. And he's got a back block on this defensive end. Now, very quickly, once again, you get the defensive end looping out. He's so good versus movement. So he sees the DN looping out. So he figures, okay, I'm going to exchange with my tackle right here, and I'm going to climb up and get this guy that's looping over the top. So great job right there. And if we were able to hit this up this huge hash, I mean, we could be garnering 97 yards up the hash right there. But what I love most in talking about IQ here is he knows for a fact that because this guy is slanting away right here, right? He knows that means that this nose tackle is also slanting this way, right? So I want you to see when he goes to step up, he doesn't just kind of go straight up. You watch him avoid this defensive tackle. He steps up and then around this defensive tackle. So he could get picked off by this body, but he steps up, around, and then comes back and completely walls this thing off. That was what was so impressive to me, that he had the IQ to realize that this guy's slanting and I don't want to naturally get picked off by him. So I kind of need to go forward, then up, then back to be able to wall this thing off. And if the running back was just a little bit quicker right here. Also, these guys end up blocking each other. I don't know what's going on here. Hopefully it does not happen. That does not happen at Florida. But that is one hell of a job with IQ there from Harrison Moore. All right, and then lastly, let's just talk some pass pro with him. I like this right here. You run a ton of fake power in Buster Faulkner's offense. And look at him just grinding. Now, you might say he's not in the greatest position. He gets close to the quarterback. And that was him just balling out on his own accord because he thought he was going to get help. So when he goes to this back block, the thought is he has this play side A gap. And he is thinking, my right guard has this backside A gap. If this guy slants into this A gap, I have the guard's help. Well, the guard gets a little too much into this. And when this guy slants, he starts to really get in this gap. And I'm thinking, if I am Moore, I got help. Well, he really doesn't have help. So we get to this point where he goes, oh crap, my guard was late. I got to figure something out. Watch him throw his feet completely. Look at him speed up his feet. Watch his feet right here. Look at him speed up his feet, throw himself, kind of jumps off both feet and gets back in front of this defensive tackle and then allows his quarterback to fire a football downfield. That is, once again, problem solving, and things are not always going to go right. And when things don't go right, Harrison Moore does a damn good job of finding a way to fix it. Right here. Here we go, pass pro. He is looking, we're in a situation where eyes here, we're here, and then he is just kind of staring at this defensive tackle. He's just waiting, and then comes over and boom, throws that over. So a lot of people look at that and say, okay, well, whatever. I just want you to see like his senses. Like just has these spidey senses where he is locked on this guy, and last second, it's almost like he just feels this guy slanting inside, because what you're getting over here is you're getting a TE stunt, and it's almost just like he senses it. 1, 2, and as this guy's coming, look at his eyes snap, and he goes, bet, boom, and just snaps into this thing. And not only does he stop the stunt, now when this linebacker tries to add on in the B gap, because Moore is just jumbling all this up, the linebacker trips over the guy that Moore just completely bodied and falls down, and so it's harder to get in the way of that pass. So once again, the IQ and almost just the spidey senses of just, there's no reason he should have been able to see that, but he just did. And that's why I'm so excited about this guy's tape. And here you go. This is just a classic center's job of getting off on the looper. You're getting a stunt again here, and he does such a good job picking it up. Whenever you got 3 defensive linemen to one side, you're going to expect some type of stunt one way or another. So in reality, we're thinking here, we're thinking left guard here, and we're thinking center here. Now, we're sliding, right? But here's what you get. You get that penetrator, looper back in. and he is the end of the slide. We got 3 guys in the slide to the left. He's the end of the slide. So he knows if something loops back over the top, since he's the last man in the slide, he has to match that and come off. So he does a great job passing this off. This guy comes over the top. He sits down on it and has a great pocket for King to be able to deliver the football. This guy's tape is so impressive, and I think it's why he's the best offensive lineman on this roster in 2026. All right, now let's dive into this right guard battle and start out with Bryce Lovett. Spent all last year at tackle, now moving inside to right guard. And let's talk about this guy's run game. I think a lot of people think he's a little weak in the run game. I don't know if that's so true. I don't know if you ask number 20 on Florida State if that's true. If he's going to give you the same answer because he just got planted in the dirt by Bryce Lovett. I mean, look, he sinks down. He brings a physicality to him, and he just runs his feet all the time. And don't come up to him if you're a linebacker. God forbid you're a linebacker and you come up to Bryce Lovett. He's going to give you straight work and plant you into the dirt. I love that rep right there. Now, here we go. I'm going to hold up 93. I'm Bryce Lovett. I see that hip. Oh, dear God. Are you kidding me? People, listen, he's got some physicality to him. You hold him up. How about physical assault? Come on, we need a freeze frame on this. Oh, my God. What is going through 93's head right now while he is parallel in midair and Bryce just put 2 hands through his rib cage and threw him down? There's not much, I can't analyze much except this is just a physical man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is when you have a shot, a free shot. This is the tenacity, the nastiness that I need on this 2026 Florida Gators offensive line. And that's what Bryce is bringing to the table. Here we go against Georgia. We're just going to go ahead and base this guy up. Just long arming into the dirt. And then just he's giving him the business. Full crotch on face, and then even rotates a little bit, get a sniff of the other ball. Holy cow. I mean, this is just straight up physicality. This is basing up, and we're just going mid-zone right here, and he's going to go strong left arm and just torque him outside and just plants him in the ground. And then you always got to, it's the jungle out here, man. You got to establish some dominance, and sometimes you just got to let him feel it. Imagine 18's father has to watch this too. I mean, that is ridiculous right there. Bryce Lovett, you are an absolute dog out here in the run game. That's the physicality that I love to see out of him, though. And then talk about just like digging a guy out, just getting in there, and that's what he's going to have to do at guard. He is going to have to dig these defensive tackles out of these holes, but I love this. He's got a combo block. We got a double with the guard up to this linebacker, and he knows this linebacker's really far inside, so I can be extra thick on this because I don't have to get off over the top quick because he's so far inside. So watch this acceleration of the feet. I like how he generally really keeps a base, but he just keeps these feet running, and he sees the linebacker shoot inside, and he says, hey, bet, we're just going to wall this thing off. And look at the defensive tackle's arms are up in the air. He's like, hey, reaching out, and Lovett's like, hell no, you're not getting anything. Boxes him in and just throws him up there. That's a great lane that you're creating, but also just a great IQ by Lovett to understand where the combo block is going to and how thick he can be, and you create this type of hole for your running back to be able to cut off of. That's a fantastic job right there. Now, let's go back to 2024. I didn't want to show a whole lot of his guard tape from 24 because he's just such a different player now, but watch this. 2 hands in. Watch, you're about to see certain death right here. We're just driving. You don't get too good of an angle at it. But I promise you, he just took all of his manhood is gone. Just getting up into there. That's when you try to swim over the top as a defensive lineman. If I'm a guard, I am going to take advantage of that. I'm going to get my arm up under your armpit, and I'm going to plant you into the center of the earth. Let's get a sideline view. Sideline view, please. Thank you. Here we go. All right, just driving, just getting into this. This is the grinding, mauling we're going to have to do. Like I said, gets up under that armpit and just into the dirt we go. This has to make you feel something watching this, guys. I can't be the only one. Here we go against USF. Talk about just accelerating in the run game, just running your feet and just taking a man and moving him. I love this. We're going to run outside zone. Look at the toe stab, positive shin angles, 2 hands in. You get a little bit of this uppercut. We're going to talk about this in a second. He does duck his head a little bit too much, but look at the acceleration angle we're getting into this. We get the lift with the uppercut, and the lower body's all acceleration, and he just runs these feet, and when this defensive lineman tries to disengage, guess what he does? Just speeds up his feet and just keeps accelerating. He's really close to planting this guy in the dirt, but the play's over. I don't know why you're celebrating in his face because you just got driven off the ball a solid 5 yards, young man. But run game, seriously, there is a lot to like here, and I'm really excited to see how this translates to guard play. All right, now let's talk about where Lovett needs to get better in the run game, and I kind of alluded to it there. Right here, he's going against a really good defensive end, but he ducks his head a little bit. That is the one thing. I'll take the physicality always, and look, you're going to have to get a positive body lean when you're in the run game, but just ducks his head a little too much. So you see when he ducks this, once again, I love the body position, but it's just a little bit too much. So that's when he works that swim move. He just kind of goes straight down, and then he's just on the backside. Now, he's not able to get in there for the tackle, but this is just a place where you got to be a little bit mindful. And that's something Trout's going to work on when you get into these blocks right here. Let's get that helmet out. Let's get that out and basically pressed against his face mask so then I can just keep running that thing. But it's not too big of a worry for me. It's just something I noted right here. You're just going to see it naturally. Like, this play doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. He's on the backside linebacker. But at a certain point, it's going to matter. So it's just a natural tendency when he's getting up to backer, just watch this head just go straight down. You see that sink, and he's looking right down at the ground, and it makes it really easy for the linebacker to go club and jump out to the left right here. And like, you can still run him and get on his backside, but I just want him to be a little bit more technical because I think this guy can be really, really good. We just got to get a little bit more solid in the run game in terms of just the technique. And if he can do that, he's a mauler. It's going to get nasty for Florida on the inside. All right, now let's talk about Lovett in pass pro. And I tried to pick the clips that were most applicable to what he's going to see at guard and things that he does that are going to translate well to guard. So, I mean, you see it. Let's talk about anchor, because that's probably the most important thing at guard. You watch, you're going to get this defensive tackle gets thrown outside. And now we're at a point where I know I'm about to get power. He's a little high with his hands right here. Watch him hop off both feet, reset, kind of bring his hips through, resets his hand, takes this left hand and puts that right up under like a forklift. And now we've created a power angle right here. And look at him just sit down on this thing. Like, balls out, and watch him just staying on this. Like, you're not getting away from him. He's locked up, and he's like, all right, I'll let you go now. But a really, really nice anchor is what I see out of him most times. And he's really solid with his hands and how he uses them to rebite. Here we go. We got a big old defensive tackle that's lined up out here. Watch him just eat this. And it just stopped right there. Like, I love when someone has a great anchor, and that's what he has. And he sees it. He gets out, and he's like, crap, okay, I got to brace down. So he gets his base a little bit wider. He sinks down. We go helmet to helmet first, and he just gets underneath this thing. And that's just anchor. That's just core strength. That's trunk mobility. And listen, this is a guy that has lost like 20 pounds of fat, like gained 15 pounds of muscle. It's only going to get that much better this year with the body transformation that he's had over this offseason. So I'm really excited to see what he can do at guard. And then right here against USF, a little nastiness. It's a grown man's game right here, boy. Now you're on the ground. Come here. Just... You can't get slightly not romantic about this guy's tape. I don't mean that in a weird way, but like this, I can feel his intention here where he's angry and he says, come here, little boy, you're on the ground, bow, and I'm just going to put everything I got into you. I'm not letting up. I'm going to keep going until you quit. That's Bryce Lovett's tenacity, and that's his nature right there. And I'll tell you what, it gets me going. And then at guard, you're going to get a lot of these power moves, and I love his rebiting of his hands. It's so important to rebite your hands because they're going to get outside. Look, we're up on the shoulder pad. We're basically on the nameplate right here. Watch him start. He actually gets that hand ripped off. He's going to go full jump in the air, boom, plant both feet down so we get a full reset. Now this hand is going to come back up, boom. You see that just stab back up underneath, and then I'm going to lift him straight up, and then my guard comes to help, and the ball is out. But I mean, that is picture perfect job of being in a situation where I need to reset, and I reset my feet, and I reset that hand back in. Very, very nice right there. And then look, I mean, he's just a technician. Look at him, just look at the trap technique. I don't know what this is. That's a little weird. It gets a little freaky on this guy's tape. It gets a little freaky, and I like it just a little bit. That's the problem, that this guy, look at the trap technique. My God. You're getting this long arm, right? You're getting a bull rush. The best way to treat that is just go trap. So he goes inside hand and just traps it. All his weight is into that. So I'm going to trap it straight down. And when you trap it, he goes down too. And we're just going to, it's just a teabag situation now. You're just going to get laid on, and I create a nice lane for my quarterback to take off. But I mean, hell of a rep right here. Great job using your hands. And then we got to end up come on, we can't end off without some nastiness. Taking him in pass pro and throwing him into the receiver that caught the football, just posting down, and then I'm nasty, I'm Bryce Lovett, so I'm just going to take you for a ride, and somehow we end up running 10 yards down the field into the ball carrier, and you're going in the dirt. There's a physicality to this man. I think Trout's going to take his game to the next level. I am unbelievably high on this kid's tape. All right, now let's talk about the other guy in this battle for right guard. TJ Shanahan came down with Phil Trautwein from Penn State, and let's talk about his run game first. So here we go. Against Clemson, we're going to run outside zone, and he's just going to get on a track, and he sees, okay, I got 47. And I really like how when 47 plays outside, he says, that's fine. I'm just going to wall you off this way. And 47 tries to duck underneath the block, and TJ says, that's cool. I'm going to put two hands on your back, get low, and throw you to the ground, create a really nice hole for the running back. And I think a lot of people think of TJ as just kind of a mauler, but he actually moves pretty well in space. And I appreciate the fact that he can get low and just kind of throw that thing, and you get that nice lane right there for Quentin Martin, the running back. All right, now we're going to go fullback dive right here. Check him out. Just check out this acceleration on the nose tackle. Just boom, get into this and drive his feet. Now, I think this play was kind of doomed from the beginning because no one blocks 35. My question is here, kind of the IQ. I think this is a combo block. This should be a single up to 47. So he gets into it really well, but you can't get into it too far because you need to get off over top of this. But I still appreciate the nastiness that he comes with of taking a man all the way to the goal line from the 5-yard line. So that's what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get consistency, and especially in the run game where he's just going to be physical and try to take someone off of the football. But as I mentioned, here we go. We're going to go backside of outside zone, and he's going to reach. There's a 2-eye on this side that's going to slant inside, and watch him reach this thing. Get some help from the center, but by the end, he has reached this and allowed a lane right here for the running back to cut through. Now, it closes quick, but this is what I mean of kind of the natural athleticism that most people, you look at him, he doesn't look like he'd be super athletic, but he just moves really well. He accelerates well in the run game and can cover guys up on the backside of outside zone right here. And then let's go the play side of outside zone. So now you're getting a lot of like slanting the front from Clemson. So I think he's kind of expecting it, but look at him just get going and then completely reaches this and walls this off. Now, play side tackle just completely whiffs on the linebacker, so the play gets blown up, and his guy actually gets back in on the play. I would like for him to finish this play just a little bit more, but the stab of this foot and just boom, that initial burst of acceleration, like I said, is something that I don't think a lot of people think TJ has, but he definitely has it. Now, let's just run this a little bit more vertical. But overall, I really like what I see in the run game and really all season long from him at Penn State. He was a consistent, just moving guys off of the football. He's not going to do anything like uberly impressive, but he's just going to show up and he's going to move guys from point A to point B against their will. Now at guard, you're going to pull too. So look at him just get into that. I like how he doesn't slow down at all. A lot of times you see these guards that pull and they will slow down right here. They'll stop because they're kind of just afraid of that contact. There's no slowing down. It's boom into it, and you kind of get a lift up. You bring the hips through, and then he keeps moving those legs. And because he keeps moving those legs, you kind of get a lane. Now, we missed some other blocks elsewhere. That's not TJ's problem. Did a really, really good job here accelerating into that block and making sure he doesn't get dented down, because if he gets dented down into this, it clogs the entire hole, and right where the running back's aiming point is completely muddied up because of the puller getting dented, but I really don't see that on his tape. He does a really nice job pulling. Now, one downside that I did see sprinkled throughout his tape in the season is just he kind of leans. There's times where he steps and he doesn't bring his whole body with him. So you get this first step and then duck the head down, and when you were getting this type of movement, you get a slant inside. The 3 technique's going to slant inside to the A-gap, and he just kind of completely misses it, and then he's on his back half. Now, quarterback decides to throw it there, so it kind of saves him, but that's something he needs to continue to kind of bring those feet, that body all together. You don't want to be in a position where we're waist bending right here, and your body's basically parallel to the ground. We want everything to be in line and run those feet. So that's the next step for him, but overall, just a really solid guy in the run game. All right, now let's talk about TJ Shanahan in pass pro. And right here, he allows his center to, boom, get completely picked off. Now I want to talk about this sequencing because he comes back and he fixes it. So you're going to get this T-end stunt. The T goes first, the nose loops around. And it is his job, because this is his man, it's his job to post down and deliver this over to the center. He gets no hands on this, and the center's, I got eyes on this nose tackle. That's his job. So because he gets no hands on this tackle that's coming down. He completely picks off the center, and then 45 is able to loop free over the top. Now, once again, you get the ball out quick, but this is something where sometimes his pass pro, you kind of jumps out a little bit too far. We're not in a bad situation. Let's post down right here, post down and get pause on, but he lets him get a full head of steam and completes the stunt right there. Now, this is what I really like. He comes back couple plays later and completely fixes this. You're going to get the same thing where this is the penetrator, this is the looper, and watch him pass this thing off. Throw that thing over, and then he's in perfect position to get back over the top and sit down on the guy looping over. That's what I really like. The ability to make a mistake. Hey, mistakes are going to happen, but come back and realize, okay, that's what they're doing. I'm going to throw this over to my guy and be in great position to now absorb the looper coming over the top. And he didn't do it just once. He did it twice. It looks really similar right here. It's pretty much the next play. You're going to get the same exact thing, and he sees it right away. He's like, okay, I got to make sure I deliver that. Look at that initial punch and throw over, and then just sit down. He's got a really good base anchor. Like, you are not going to bull rush TJ Shanahan, but I love it. Like, just you see the kind of he almost like lunges into a little bit, which I'm fine because he knows the situation. He knows what's coming over the top. He knows he's got to get back, but he just wants to make sure that he delivers this over. And honestly, throws it so hard that he actually throws him into the looper that's trying to loop over the top. So it slows the looper down, which gives TJ time to now kick back. And we're in a great base. We got hands in, and our quarterback can deliver the football. So I really like that sequence right there of seeing him problem solve and fix problems that arose in the game. Now, let's just talk a little bit of IQ right here from TJ Shanahan. I think a lot of people look at that and say whatever, but he's in the slide. So we got center in the A gap. TJ's got B gap, right tackle's got C gap. Now, what I like is he's holding what we call a drag hand. He's holding that hand to feel if this defensive tackle kind of comes into him. Now, he doesn't, but he's holding the drag hand while his eyes are in the B gap. So he's basically kind of doing two responsibilities at once, which I really like because he's always there the entire time. Then as soon as he feels this, he helps, but eyes are still here. And then 44 finally spins back inside, and TJ says, yep, that's what I've been waiting for. And just boom, just a little hit. It's nothing crazy, but those type of things matter. Those matter at different points in the game. This might, let's say the quarterback needs to hold it longer, and let's say 44 does beat this tackle a little bit cleaner on this spin move. Because TJ's eyes are there the entire time while he's still helping the center, that's really important, and that's going to matter later on. So I really like to see the pass pro IQ there from TJ. And now right here, just talking about just moving your feet and continuing to stay on the block here is what's impressive. So you're going to go play action. You're going to get this play action fake, and he's got to move. He's got a 2-eye over here that he's got to come all the way over, reach. So he's got to kind of run to it. So he doesn't have a great base, but gets back into a base really quickly, and then just kind of mirrors him really well. And then you're going to get this swipe of this left arm. So the left arm kind of goes down, and he works a rip move. But TJ just does a good job continuing to widen the rusher this way, and he doesn't drop this foot. He keeps this foot strong. You see that, and continues to widen out, and so gives a nice pocket for his quarterback to step up in, except Eagan Boyer having some trouble there against the defensive end. But once again, really, really solid pass pro where it's going to be hard to give him any type of power moves, and he replaces his hands and feet really, really well. And this last one right here, this is what I like. We're going to go some screen game, and you're going to get this from Buster Faulkner, like I said. Look at him look back. So everybody's kind of got their job. His job is clean up as the backside tackle. Well, put him in the dirt, and then jump on top of him, get a little physicality, and then 45 tries to put two hands into him, jump over him. Nah, I already dominated you. Look, I know he's not looking at him, but this is his job. Look, I'm not calling that dirty. That's saying, hey, I got a clean shot, and that's my job, clean up duty, and I love the little extra right there where he jumps on top of him. So I think you got a really good player in TJ Shanahan. I love it in this right guard battle, but it's going to go on all throughout fall camp, and I think both guys are honestly going to play a lot throughout the season. All right, now we're going to dive into the battle for left tackle, and we're going to start out with Stanford transfer Emeka Ugorji coming over, played as a true freshman for them. And let's start out with his pass pro. This game against UNC was really the only game where he played tackle the entire time, so I want to check this out. So you see a pretty good rep right here. Gets out in his pass pro. One thing you're going to notice that he gets really wide with his hands. So what that does is it really opens up his chest, and it gives the defensive end the ability to just put his helmet in his chest and just try to bull rush him back. Now, he does a good job kind of anchoring here, sitting down, and his quarterback is able to get the football out. Now, that was pretty much the only good pass pro rep from the entire day from him. I'm Just going to be honest. 4 sacks allowed in the game where he got to play tackle. It was not a great day. Let's really dive into this and what Trout is going to harp on with him to get fixed. So the first thing that I really see is he is a big leaner. You see these hands, he throws them outside, but this is when I say waist lean, watch how he's in a good position. He's in what we call ramrod right now, where if I stuck a spear through his head, it would come out the other end straight down. Watch, you see that right there, right away. The lean, and he's lunging a little bit, so he's out of his legs now. So now he doesn't have a whole lot of power. He's getting long-armed back into the quarterback, tries to throw this right arm back up under as like a forklift, just can't get it there, and then this guy swipes it with the left hand, so does a really good job, and then once again, he kind of pulls through, and you get the lean full down, and we're getting after the quarterback and sacking him right here. So part of this is he's a true freshman, and he's just not that strong yet, but he's just got to get a little bit better at keeping that base, and if he does that, he won't lean as hard. So here we go, once again, getting out, and you're just going to see it right away. We'll play it one time all the way through. Quarterback gets lit up. We cannot afford that this year, but when he gets out, he's got a very pretty pass set. But once again, you see the hands coming out. It's not like a solid punch. He's kind of circle punching, if you will, and you see it. You see his whole body come forward. Both feet are off the ground. He's leaning forward. I mean, look at it. He's fully leaning and just reaching. So when the defensive end goes the inside move, he doesn't even work a move. He doesn't have to. He just moves inside, and Emeka, unfortunately, is not able to stop him. So once again, you see the movement of I am in a good ramrod position, and then right there's the lunge. There's the waist bending that we get from him, and we get a hit on the quarterback. All right, here we go. Later in the game, we're setting again. Once again, pretty set. You get this right hand outside on the pec. We're in a good spot. And then right here, this is where part of it I do question is his length. Like, he is 6'4". You get a holding penalty on him here as well. That's one piece of him playing tackle that I do question, is he doesn't have the length that any of these other tackles have that are 6'8". So we're getting out, and like, this is a good position. Like, we have almost kind of won here. But then you see the defensive end starts to lift this hand up. And one thing I want you to watch too that you get a lot of is he really drops his back foot, this right foot. And when you drop this foot from here to over here, it gives that ability and a soft edge for the defensive end to now bend it. So this foot goes from here and fully drops back. So you see how his hips were kind of square to the line of scrimmage right here, and he's going to fully drop them, and now his hips are facing the sideline, and you don't want your hips facing the sideline. That's how you give that edge to the quarterback, and almost gets home for the sack, but you get a holding call on him right there. All right, here we go. This was earlier in the game, and you just get a double hand swipe, but I just wanted to show you someone else gets home. It was not a good day for Stanford against UNC, I'll tell you what. So this actually didn't result in his man giving up the sack, but I just wanted to show you once again, it's a good visual of how bad the circle punch with the lean is. So you get the circle punch, and once again, just full on waist bend. You see him fully lean out, and once again, you see that drop of the back foot, fully drops and gives that soft edge for the defensive end to bend that thing. So not a good rep right there. And then one more time, just dealing with power and just kind of gets that counter move back inside. This is where he started to really just kind of lose confidence in this game when you get to this point, but he starts to kind of pitter-patter his feet. Like, we get to this point, and you're just going to see his feet just constantly like moving. That's not where you want to be. So the defensive end just bull rushes him. Once again, with these hands get outside, not where you want to be. So he just kind of throws him, and he's going to shuck him to the side and go inside back to the quarterback. So there's a lot of fundamentals. He's got a good pass set. He just needs to be a little bit more calm and throw this punch. But I do question the overall length of him at tackle. Now here's him at guard, but he's going to be in a tackle situation. You're going to get this defensive tackle looping to the other side and then gets beat, quarterback gets hit right here. But like I said, this is a situation you're going to find yourself in. He sees that this guy's looping back. We're basically at a left tackle situation where the DN's trying to rush the edge. The first thing that he does that I want you to see again is, look, he is square to the line of scrimmage on impact. Watch this foot and how drastic of a drop it is. This foot goes from here all the way to here. Once again, hips were square to line of scrimmage. Now look, hips are facing the sideline. He is giving that soft edge, and the defensive tackle takes it and is hitting the quarterback. All right, now I talked about his biggest problem really being that punch and the fact that he doesn't have one. I saw flashes though, boom. When he does punch, it's good. Like, if Trout can get him to punch and use his hands efficiently, especially because he's not as long as these other guys, he can be a good player. Look at him. Remember that circle punch that we saw? Look at him throw this arm, boom.
You see, he actually catches him a little bit in the face mask. Look, I don't care if the refs don't call it, whatever. He stuns him with this punch. And then look, this defensive end gets his hands kind of up under. Watch him re-bite this right arm, takes the right arm off, and then boom, re-bites it back underneath and is kind of hopping back. Now, overall, like just power is something he's going to have to work on. Once again, true freshman. He's going to get stronger. But if he can get, boom, if he can get his hands like this and Trout can keep working with that punch, it can actually be dang good out there. Here we go. One more time. Same exact thing. Watch this. Bow. Once again, gets him in the face a little bit, but I don't care. That if you are throwing your hands like that, it's going to be so much more effective for him. Get loose. Look at this. I mean, watching, I'll tell you what, guys, watching some ACC football, it's funny. All right, so, I mean, if Trout can get him to do this, once again, you get a little hands to the face, I don't mind it if you're throwing those hands and then resets them, sits down, gets back to a really good base, he's not dropping this foot, and then even, once again, you saw that rebite of the right hand, where the right hand's outside, and he's like, cool, I got to fit this back underneath, and he just, boom, tucks that thing back under, and we're sitting down on it. So that's where I just need him to take the next step. He shows a lot of flashes, but his reps at tackle that we just saw were not very good. Now I just want you to watch this. Watch him see this poor safety. Kapow! And then go get some more. There's physicality in there. It exists. It's just Trout has to get it out, but I love this. He sees the rusher going outside. He says, okay, he's going outside. I need to turn back, and I see this poor safety that I'm just going to put a nice little lick on. That's the physicality we got to get out of him. That's the next step for Emeka Ugorji. All right, and then let's talk about his run game real quick. I like his intent. Like, boom, you see how he does that? It's just he doesn't have enough that comes with it, meaning that he's a little light and he's a true freshman, and so he just needs to get overall more physical. But you see the intent of him like stabbing this foot and boom, like trying to explode into it. But this is just a grown man that's just like, I'm going to put two hands into you, press you, and just throw you off to the side and go make this tackle. So he's got to get stronger. That's a big emphasis in the Florida Gators weight room. We're going to get this offensive line stronger. But he's working with a lot of good intangibles. Like, he's an athletic guy. He has the nastiness in there. We see the flashes. He's just got to get a little bit more physical. And the biggest thing is just the play strength. That's where he's got to take that next step right here. Once again, just getting into this thing, and you see it. His hands do get outside. That's probably the biggest tendency in run and pass that gets him in trouble, because you see he has no control right here. This defensive end's able to control him because the hand is outside, so he's up in his chest, control. Like, you see how the DN's got full control. When the running back cuts outside, he just says, hey, I'm just going to shuck you to the side, and I'm going to get in on this tackle right here. So play strength and just being overall more physical and hands inside. Those are the biggest things for Emeka to work on, especially if he's going to start at left tackle for the Florida Gators. All right, now let's talk about the guy competing with Emeka at left tackle. That's Eagan Boyer, transfer from Penn State, came with Phil Trautwein. And let's look at his pass pro first right here. So going against Clemson, the game where he really played the most in and did a fairly good job early on. You get a really nice move here. And the best part of him is he's 6'8", and he's athletic. Like, he does a really good job with this inside spin move, leans on a little bit, but look at him push off this foot and really post down and keep a great base, keep his hips square to the line of scrimmage. I got my hands in, and I just ride him down and give a really, really nice lane for my quarterback. I mean, the quarterback's getting lit up from the other side, but that's not Eagan Boyer's problem. But that's just a really solid rep of keeping your base where you want it, posting down, hands on. It even tries to spin back, and he keeps this left hand tucked in there, and 13 still can't even spin. So nice rep right there in pass pro. And then one more time right here, going against 44. I really like how he widens him, and then his hands. Once again, quarterback goes down from the other side, but you get this 4-eye. He loops outside. So I like how he keeps kind of kicking to continue to widen him. He knows he has his left guard right here that's sliding with him. And then you get to this point where, once again, he continues to widen him, and we're getting more and more width in the pocket. And then what I really like here is the fight of the hands. He doesn't all the way get it back, but his hands are outside, and 44's in his chest. Watch him take this right hand off and starts to rebite up underneath, takes this other one, and then boom, rebites back underneath. So play ends really quick, so he doesn't really be able to show his anchor, but I just really like what I'm seeing, the natural, hey, I'm going to rebite, get my hands back, fit underneath. That's a really, really good job right there from Boyer. Now, there was also a lot of bad in his pass pro against Clemson, and the biggest thing I started to see is that he didn't trust his power, so he started to lean, and because he's 6'8", you're going to see, once again, the waist bending, similar to Emeka. It's a similar situation where you get that lean out of your legs, and you never want to be in this position as an offensive lineman. And once again, similar he drops this back foot, completely turns, and 13's able to turn that edge. Now, we just get the ball out a lot quicker here, so he's not going to be credited with even a pressure allowed. But this was something common where he was ending up in this position, and it is really tough to recover once you are in that position. Here we go. Once again, same exact. You're going against a wide 9. You get out here, and you get the same thing. When you lunge like this, and you go from being in that ramrod where you're good, and then full-on lunge like this, number one, it just puts you in a bad position. But number two, you really your weight kind of falls outside onto your left leg. So now there's no option except to drop this leg, completely turn, and your hips are now facing this way, and you give that soft edge to get back online to the quarterback. Now, he does a good job running him, throwing him, throws him into his right tackle, poor right tackle right here. So I like the recovery and the athleticism aspect, but he's got to trust his punch a little bit more and sit in that base. He is leaning way too much in a lot of these clips. One more time. You see him try to mix it up here. Now you're going to get a quarterback hit. Ball's out, but what I really like here is he's trying things. He tries the flash. He's obviously not trying to land this punch. He's trying to throw a flash to kind of mess with the defensive end. But the defensive end saying, hey, I beat you upfield. You're throwing a flash. I already have you beat. Once again, we're going to drop this back leg and give him that soft edge. And all you can do is turn and just try to run him upfield. But if the defensive end gets a good bend, you're SOL, and he's going to be able to hit your quarterback. So the number one thing is, he's got the length. He's got everything you want. Let's go sideline view right here. But you just see the natural tendency for him when he's in his kick set to, by the second, third kick, the foot goes from being right here and his hips are square to line of scrimmage to fully dropping that thing and giving that edge to the defensive end. That's what we got to get fixed up with Eagan Boyer. And then overall, there's just the power aspect. There's the fact that he's 6'8" and he's a long body, and he needs to continue to get stronger and put on more weight because he actually lands a pretty good punch here, but defensive end gets two hands in and just kind of long arms right upfield, throws him straight back, and then even finishes this and makes him kind of face the opposite way, and then we're getting another hit on the quarterback. So the hands, the leaning, we got to work on all that, but part of this will come with just getting older and getting stronger. All right, now let's talk about Boyer's run game and where he needs to get better at. So you're going to see right here, 45 slants outside. You end up throwing the RPO, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But what I want you to see is we have a combo block with my left guard up to 47. And you're going to see as he steps, 45 is going to slant outside into the C gap. But I want you to notice his feet here. Look at this left foot fully cross over his right foot. He's got no base right here. So when 45 slants, he's got nothing to recover and brace back because of that. So he has to fully turn all the way around, similar to pass pro, and he just fully gives that edge to 45. Now, like I said, quarterback decides to pull it and throw it, so it's fine. But it does matter on certain plays. Now, here we go. Inside zone yet again, and we're going to have a C block with the tight end up to 47. And so he's going to step. Now I need you to brace back into this thing and just watch it once. Just watch it all get kind of washed down in. Quarterback decides to pull it. But I would have loved to be able to hand it off here. And the reason why this gets dented down in, I need you to brace back into 49 so we can take this C block vertical to 47. But what you get is, you see this right foot in the ground for him. Watch the left foot that's over here come across the right foot. That's Eagan Boyer's left foot, and his right foot's over here. He is in a full crossover. There is no base to be able to brace back into 49 to take this vertical. So because he's in a full-on crossover here, he just gets thrown down into the pile. And even if you wanted to hand this off, it's completely jumbled up because it's a big mess. So he needs to be able to play in a better base as a whole. And you just kind of see that all over his tape, even in other instances where I'm just going to base up this defensive end and you see him lean and kind of get into a lunge position, his feet, he's not in a good base, and 13 just kind of swims him inside. Now, I appreciate his recovery to get back on top of this, kind of loop around and still get a paw on him. But this is where we just got to be better. This is where we can't duck our head. Once again, you notice similar things showing up in the run game that you also get in pass pro. The lean, the head goes down, the hands are a little bit outside, and there's no way to be able to block him there. Like I said, I appreciate the recovery, the athleticism. That's what he brings to the table to get back on his backside and just try to run him a little bit. But we got to play with a better base in run game. All right, now let's talk about the good part of Eagan Boyer's run game, and that's his athleticism. At 6'8", this guy can straight up move. An outside zone is something that I mentioned earlier that you really, really like to run if you're Buster Faulkner. Now, you're going to notice this is a Philip Troutwine technique. It's called skip pull. A lot of guys, when they're pulling, they'll skip pull, but you don't normally see this on the backside of outside zone. I got to reach this 3 technique. So he's going to plant off this foot. The left foot's going to come behind him, full skip. And what that allows him to do is get a lot of depth. So now, look, this defensive tackle still has a ton of leverage play side, but because Boyer got depth, now he can just turn and run, and look at him overtake this thing. Now I have gained my leverage, and then press this thing vertical. Now, like I said, it gets blown up play side, but look at him wall this thing off. That's really impressive to be able to reach a 3 technique with no help. That's what the skip pull allows you to do. Like I said, Trout's going to teach that to all the tackles, but Eagan Boyer is showing off the athleticism right here. And then here we go. We're going to just go play side of outside zone. Look at him just wall off 44, run him. That's the acceleration. The feet get going and create a really nice hole for the running back to run through. So what I like is 44 plays upfield. So he does a really good job exploding into this thing. You get these double uppercuts, and look at him naturally kind of bring his hips through, and he's just kind of running and taking the defensive end on the angle that he found him on and washing him upfield, almost pancakes him. The defensive end almost lost balance, but I mean, look at the lane you have created for him. That's just a great job accelerating. So he's got a ton of athleticism. The next step is just keeping a base and being a little bit more overall physical. All right, now let's talk about Caden Jones at right tackle, the guy who I think might have the most overall potential on this offensive line. And we're going to start out with him in pass pro. And when this guy uses his length, he is so hard to beat and gives these defensive ends fits in pass pro. So has a very clean set. And when he throws this outside independent hand, and like I said, these arms are so long. Look at the head jolt back. Boom, right there. Then he's able to come in with the inside hand and kind of throw that on, and he just rides the defensive end around the edge. Really, really clean. Like anytime he just throws that outside hand, it's so hard because the arms are so long that the defensive ends, like they're not even ready, and he's already on them, and then he can just ride them around the pocket. Same thing here against Georgia. Takes a good set, and you're just going to see outside independent hand right on that chest plate. Boom. And there's just nothing you can do. He's such a strong individual that when he is able to anchor and he gets paws on, it's basically rep over at that point. Here we go. Once again, going against Georgia. And then kind of the anchor. Like, I feel like this guy, he's the type that's just going to be able to eat bull rushes once he fully figures it out. Like, it's going to get to the point when you're the 6'8", 320 type, you're going to be able, like a lot of people say, hey, like he's catching right here and his arms are outside. When you are a massive human being, you are afforded the ability to be able to do that, where you can just absorb bull rushes. Now, there's times where he does not do that on his tape. So he's got to get a little bit stronger, and we're going to talk about his base in pass pro in a little bit, but there are flashes where I just watch him fully eat a bull rush with not even necessarily good technique. I also love him just running this guy back to the goal line. And I'm just like, yeah, that's why he has the most upside. That's why he can be an elite offensive tackle, because of reps like this all over his tape. Now, right here, one more time, going against Ole Miss. Bow! Lay it on him and throw the other one down too. You want to talk about physicality? Like, he flashes this physicalness of just how big he is, where, hey, I know I'm about to get a pick. And this defensive tackle, his job is to come pick Caden Jones off so the looper can come around. And Caden Jones says, joke's on you. Wow! I love that. And then Ford tries to kind of squeeze through. He's like, excuse me, I'm just going to try to get through here. And Caden Jones is like, hell no, you're not. Throws him into the pile too. That's the physicality I really like in his game. But really nice IQ here. The second that he starts to turn back inside, those eyes snap. And then you're just getting full physicality. Poor 51 caught a forearm shiver to the freaking throat. And then Ford gets thrown down there. All right, now, Cassius Howe, one of the best pass rushers in all of college football. You're going to see the independent hand usage here. I really like it. Now, this is where he's going to have to improve. So he gets out really well in his stance. He throws that initial outside hand. Howe is big on that jump chop right here. So he gets it down, and now Howe's going to try to pull himself through, and he does a really good job. Like, we're in a good situation. The biggest problem is there's so often that I see him floating in the air where both feet are off the ground, and it makes it so difficult for him to be able to recover. So that is his big next step, is that he's got to play with his feet in the ground. I know Trout is probably watching all of this tape and thinking the same exact thing. Hey, if we can just get this guy to play with his feet in the ground, he's going to be borderline unstoppable.
All right, so let's dive a little bit further into this whole feet off the ground thing with Jones, because that's what I identified as his biggest issue in pass pro. And if he can fix it, like I really believe his ceiling is, it's through the roof. Like there is no ceiling for him. But if you watch this, like you're going against 8. This is a tiny safety. Your arms are so long. This rep should already be over. But 8 gives him a little juke inside and then goes back outside. And what I want you to see here, if we slow this down, and then he kind of just goes into a chop move and bends the edge. That should not happen right there. But if you slow it down right when he makes this move, you are going to notice, boom, both feet are off the ground right now for Caden Jones. So it's going to take him a while where he's thinking, both my feet are off the ground. In his mind, I'm about to get an inside move. So now I need to plant them both and get ready to post back down. And then he goes back out and really almost both feet come off the ground again. And then he gets beat around the edge. So that's a constant that I see when he does lose reps. This is the issue. Here we go, going against Ole Miss again. I think a lot of people look at that and just say, damn, he doesn't have any anchor. He's getting bull rushed here, and Lagway has to run out of the pocket, throw it away. But once again, if you really slow this thing down, you are going to see that right before contact, we're going to jump in the air, and right here, both feet are off of the ground. So right as I'm about to absorb this bull rush, I just got my feet back in the ground. And so that makes it a lot harder. Now, once a defensive end's like into you and you want to work a hop technique where it's kind of, you do actually hop and both feet come off the ground, that's fine. But there's way too often where he is hopping in the air before we're even in contact, and it makes it so hard for him to recover. And I think that's the biggest part of his game, that his ability to recover just is not there yet. And this is a big reason for that. If he can fix this little thing, and like I said, I know Trout's going to be all over it, his game is going to be so much better. And then this one right here, like this rep should be over. This should not be a pressure for him. This is where I'm like, hey, if we can keep these feet in the ground, you're going to be able to just stonewall these guys. So we get in, we're good. Like 50, this rep should be over. You're 6'8", you're a large human being. But I want you to watch this. We get to this point where we're good, and now he's going to keep working this edge, and both feet are now going to come off the ground again. If we go really slow right here, you see that? That rotation where both are off this entire time. And he also that makes him drop this back foot and give that softer edge to Lagway. We got to cut that out, because that rep should have been done right at the top of the rush, but he just let him win because he's hopping in the air way too often right here in the air. Trout definitely is identifying this and working on this, and if he can fix it, Caden Jones goes to the next level in pass pro. All right, now let's talk some Caden Jones run game. And when you get a big man like this accelerating, when he just goes and trusts his acceleration, he is a straight up people mover. Watch him stab this foot in the ground. You get toe strike, you get positive shin angle, and his eyes are on that juicy hip. And when you attack the hip of a defensive lineman, they move, and just look at him throw that over. I would have loved for the running back to trust that and just cut that right up the middle right there. But that's the physicality you get when he's just going full speed ahead and just says, I'm going to move a man from point A to point B against his will. Now right here, I really like this one. We're going inside zone, and he's going to step down because I have a combo block with my right guard up to the linebacker. Now he sees this thing slants away. This is really good IQ. He sees something slant away. So as soon as something slants away, you're supposed to brace back. Look at him brace back into this. And him and Hansen just take this thing for an absolute ride down the field. That's physical. That's using your IQ, though, of being able on the fly to say, hey, that went away. I know I need to brace back into this. Try to create a lane right here. It closes because this guy comes into this play side A gap. But I love what I'm seeing here. And then the want to just drive down the field. I love it. Anytime you get someone, it's like a blindside scene right there out of the movie with Hansen. Love that. And then this last one, we're going to go screen game. Get it out. Look at him just line this up. And he's lost a lot of weight now. That was an announcement today. Just dropped 29 pounds. It's going to be a little less weight going on top of these DBs and these safeties when he's pancaking them, but he's going to be able to move even better. And as we've talked about throughout this film breakdown, Faulkner's going to run wide receiver screens, and Jones getting out in space and doing this is going to be a big part of it. All right, now let's talk about Jones, where he needs to get better in the run game. And it's very similar to pass pro right here. 12 just kind of throws him to the side a little bit. And I want you to note, it's very similar in the sense that both feet come off the ground. So you're going to see him when he pushes off. Look at this moment right here. He kind of jumps into it. Both feet are off right here
off the ground. So he kind of hops into it. So it's so much harder to keep that acceleration that we saw a couple plays ago where he was just like going down on that defensive tackle. And when you hop into it, you have no acceleration. You're actually decelerating. So that's why 12 is able to press him and hold this edge. And you're just kind of lucky that 12 misses right here. But that's where he's got to be more physical at the point of attack of just accelerating instead of hopping into these run blocks. And then this last one right here, sometimes just a little high. When he's 6'8", naturally, he just rises. I need him to work to get a little bit lower. Like, I love everything here. Excel mechanics all look good. Let's just get into this thing. But he's playing at about 6'7" when he's 6'8" right here. And this guy's so much lower than him. He gets his arm up into him, kind of jacks him up. And then I'm just full control because he's playing so high. He's on his toes. As the defensive tackle, I have full control. I can see, I get in here, and I make this tackle in the backfield. So definitely a lot of things to work on with Caden Jones, but he's the perfect just art piece for Trout to say, hey, I'm going to sculpt this guy, and he has all the potential in the world to be one of the best tackles in the SEC. All right, last but most certainly not least, Knijeah Harris, who I think is just going to be a consistent player for this offensive line. Let's talk about him in run game. One of my favorite attributes that he has is when he gets paws on guys and he just runs them in space. He's really good at collecting movement or getting up on linebackers. So right here, we're going to run this mid zone, and he sees like there's no one to hit here. Bain plays outside, so I'm just going to go get up on this linebacker. I like how he sinks, and then watch him kind of bring his hips through with these uppercuts and just kind of run. And you see how he's lifting up while bringing the hips through. That makes it so hard for this linebacker to disengage. Now he just kind of gets his back ran into. But that's a really good job of getting up on the linebacker and then accelerating. That's going to create some big holes for Ball this coming year. And then here we go once again, dealing with movement, picking it up, and then accelerating yet again. And look at him running him down the field and whispering in his ear, look what I'm about to do to you. Look what I'm about to do to you. He's letting him know. And look, he taps him on the head. He's like, all right, calm down now. But I love this. Here we go. We're running over here. You see the slant away and his eyes snap. And he's like, oh yeah, 42, you're mine. Takes a couple shuffles to the side, lines him up. And like I said, there's the acceleration. There's the hips. You see that moment where his hips come through. So we're right here. Watch his hips pull through. Ready? Pull through, and that keeps him. That's when this LSU defender tries to disengage because he pulled his hips through and moves his feet. He can't disengage, and now I'm just whispering sweet nothings into your ear. Looking, I'm about to do you all day long. That's what he's saying to him. But that's probably the best part of his run game is just accelerating once he's on the block. Same thing. I think I'm going to be basing up this 3 technique. Nope, he's going to slant. Here comes 3. Boom, picked him up into the air with one arm. What are we talking about? That's how I like this guy's tape. Like, look at him sink down in and lift. Look, both feet off the ground. 3 flies back, and we create a really nice hole here for a second. Now, linebacker gets over the top. We're not able to get off over top and meet this. But if we're able to hit this and get off on this linebacker, Harris has created such a good lane by picking up that linebacker that was blitzing in the hole. So a really high IQ player, a guy that you can just count on at left guard. That's probably the overall best part of having him is I know I have a veteran guy that has played a ton of snaps that is just going to torque guys out of the hole and once again just drive them. Picking up movement. Movement has become so frequent, especially in the SEC realm, but really everywhere in college football where guys are going to slant to the opposite gap. Harris says, cool, I'm going to put 2 hands in and throw you to the side and really wall this thing off so the running back can cut right off my butt. And once again, we get the acceleration of the feet here from Harris. And then we're going to line up and we're going to run QB sneak, and you better get lined up in time. I love this. We go quick hurry up. And so 51's not down yet. Harris is down, waiting, ready for the snap, and he goes, oh, brother, you better pray if you're not going to get down, and just fires off. You see 51's neck just snap back, and he gets him on one knee, and then just you see that final little forklift into the ground and then swims on top of him. Look at him swimming. It's a whole swim meet over here. He's still moving on top of him. Like, that's disrespectful as all get out. But that's what Harris brings to the table. I love that. I love him swimming, saying, yeah, look what I just did to you. And then this one right here, a little bit outside with his hands. When he does lose rep and gets dented, that's the one time. It's not often, but I do see this where you see both hands kind of come outside where he's kind of ducking that head, both come outside, so this defensive tackle is able to get into his chest and just compress him back, and it makes it really hard for the running back, and there's really nowhere to go. So not often do I see these type of reps, but that is where he can just get a little bit better in the run game, is always make sure that those hands are tight. And then let's jump over to his pass pro, and he is such a great anchor. When guys come from depth and he just wants to sit down on the power rush, he can just do it. So we got a defensive end that's going to go straight inside. He's aiming for that right 7, and he says, I'm just going to go full speed, build up. And Harris doesn't care. Watch him sink down, get up underneath this, lift it up, and it's just 15 stopped in his tracks. Like, this is a strong, powerful man, and he's only going to get stronger. That's been an emphasis for this Florida offensive line in the offseason. But I love his ability to diagnose, okay, here comes the bull rush from depth. I better sink and get under this. And just does such a good job with this right arm, tucking the thing, boom, up underneath and lifting straight up, stopping it right there. Love that. And then going against Akeem Mesidor, this is a first-round draft pick that gave a lot of guards a lot of problems, because Mesidor would do this a lot. They'd line him up as a 5-tech, and he'd slant inside, especially on third down versus these guards. And look at him, just take a set. He throws the independent outside hand to kind of stop it, and then boom, comes with the right hand. And the ability to just sit down, and you're going to watch this elbow, this left elbow, kind of rotates in and up, rebites it, gets underneath this thing, and is able to stop Mesidor right there. Not a lot of guys can do that versus a first-round draft pick, and he can. So the anchor in the pass pro is going to give whoever starts at quarterback a lot of confidence that there is going to be a nice pocket to step up in. And then here we go against LSU, working a hop technique, hopping back, rebiting those hands, rebiting the feet, really jumping. Love this right here. So now you're going to see this left hand get outside and watch him. Here we go. I was talking about the rotation. First, you're going to get the hop technique, kind of reset those feet, and then watch him slowly just kind of this left elbow. Doesn't even rebite it. He tucks it in, and it gives him leverage. When you kind of tuck your elbow in and then rotate that hand in, it gives you this, like, you just got him gripped up, and he's not going anywhere. You have full control of him, and even when Lagway scrambles right past him, he's able to kind of help throw him down so Lagway can get through. So little things like this where he's able to reset his feet, rotate that hand in, are reasons why he is such a good just counter move to a lot of these power moves. And now let's just talk about core strength, where a lot of guys, he gets that rip move right where that defensive tackle wants it. And a lot of guys here, we've been talking a lot about dropping of the foot. He doesn't drop that foot. He keeps widening him, and he uses his core strength to fight back against that move and makes him go back inside, keeps a really nice base the entire time, and Lagway is able to fire that thing off. So, I mean, overall, just a really consistent guy that you got at left guard, a guy that's played a ton of snaps, and you know he's just going to be solid for you all season long.